The BlokeBusters podcast is proud to be a member of the Podbros Network. You can find us, as well as other fantastic podcasts such as Pencil and Ink Review, Another Damn Trivia Show, and The Language of Bromance at podbros.com, as well as on most other fine podcasting services. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to share and enjoy the BlokeBusters podcast.
Welcome to episode 85 of the BlokeBusters podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Paul.
And as you can probably tell by the title, we will be discussing a very early animated film, at least early in our terms, An American Tail.
Yeah, well, very early in my terms. It was before I was born. That's right.
Well, yes. And it's all perspective. We'll get into my history with this film in a little bit. Yeah. But Paul, why don't you first tell us where the good folks can find us?
Well, I mean, obviously they're listening to us right now, but if you want to find us...
so this is one venue.
Yes, if you want to find us in any other format, we are on Twitter at BlokeBusters, Facebook.com/BlokeBusters, we're on Instagram, BlokeBusters, we have a website, BlokeBusters.webs.com, which is quite nice, and I do try and keep it updated. I believe it's up to date at the present time. And also you can email us, blokebusterpodcast@gmail.com, and we also will accept carrier pigeons if you can somehow train them to find us.
I prefer a raven, but, to each their own.
Yeah. I mean, I'm English. Pigeons are everywhere. Come on.
Well, my GOT people, Yeah. All right. So, money. I know before we started going, so numbers may be a little hard to track, but what you got?
Yeah, well, obviously this film directed by Don Bluth, and it was a budget of about $9 million. That one is going off of IMDb, so obviously take that one as you will. But the box office for this worldwide was $84,542,002.
Damn. That's a hit.
Yes,
that's a hit.
A remarkable return there. 9 times the reported budget. So
hence the 1,000 sequels. But
yes, we might get into that a little bit.
Okay, sorry.
In fact, that might even bleed into another thing that we do. But anyway,
all right.
So. Yeah, do you happen to have a synopsis of this film keyed up at all?
Well, I sure do.
Okay.
While immigrating to the United States, a young Russian mouse gets separated from his family and must relocate them while trying to survive in a new country.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
That one actually isn't bad. I will give them that
pretty
one.
much the movie, yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty much your end credits. Okay.
Yeah. Alright, so very quickly going over the cast here, you've got Philip Glasser as Fievel Mouskowitz, and I'm not going to bother trying to say it the way they do it in the film, because I do not have that accent. Yeah. Amy Green as Tanya Mouskowitz, John P. Finnegan as Warren T. Rat, and then let's see, I don't know if I can pronounce this guy's first name properly, Nehemiah Persoff?
I would have gone with Nehemia or Nehemiah. But you might, who knows?
Yeah, as Papa Mouskowitz, Erica Yana's Mama, and then the only one I would say of note, apologies to those that feel that the others really deserve a play, but you got Madeline Kahn as Gussie Mousheimer. I see what they did there. And you got Christopher Plummer as Henri, who is a French pigeon in America.
Of course.
Make with that what you will. And then Dom DeLuise as Tiger, who is basically the Cowardly Lion.
Thank you for taking those. Yes, he is definitely the Cowardly Lion. You didn't have to look far for his inspiration for that character.
Yes, I mean, reading it off on here, it just says a very large, cowardly, long-haired, orange tabby cat who also happened to be vegetarian, with the exception of the occasional fish. So, but yeah, Cowardly Lion is all you need to know for that. So,
all right.
So why don't we say, like, you said that you had your own little intro to this film. So what?
Yeah, first I'll get into that, but first I just want to kind of remember. I know some of our listeners may be on the younger side, and of course I'm an old man here, but I just kind of want to put people on a time frame of when this movie came out. It was 1986.
November 21st, 1986.
Yeah, so obviously animated films have been out for a very long time.
Yep.
Fantasia in 1940 and Bambi and then Cinderella, Snow White actually, I guess 3 years before in 37, but yeah. But at least for me, animated films kind of went into a kind of lull for a while. And I think this was kind of the birth of like the resurgence and like kind of popularity of animation.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting. I would probably say Secret of Nim laid the groundwork, and then An American Tail became like the like the one that everyone was able to see. Secret of Nim, very dark. I'm a huge fan of that film, but definitely not every kid got to see this one. And even though this one does have dark tones in it, I feel it's doesn't come anywhere close to that.
Yeah. But just a couple of mile markers here for you. This was 3 years before the Berlin Wall came down. This film came out. Also 5 years before the USSR was dissolved.
All right.
So yeah. So I mean, that does kind of date things a little bit, like
yeah.
Some people might be thinking, "Holy shit, that was a long time ago." Yeah, it was. So apparently, breaking news. Beep 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 beep. Breaking news. Sorry, please cut that out.
Nope.
But I know you'll leave it in. Yes, I have been telling people the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I found out all today is a complete lie.
Yes, I saw this sucker.
Okay, you saw this interaction with my mother and myself on Facebook today?
I did, yes.
So, hi, Mom, if you're listening. Hope you're not. But anyway, this looks like it might be the first film I've ever seen in theaters. At the ripe old age of 4. Yeah. So I've been telling people for years and years it was The Nightmare Before Christmas, shortly followed by The Lion King. And apparently this was the first film, I've ever seen in a theater. Although, I'm sorry, Mom, I do not remember. Hopefully you let me off the hook. I was 4.
Yes. To be able to clearly remember exactly what you did throughout your 4-year-old life,
I was just becoming, reconciling with consciousness. So
yes, I think we can let you off the hook for that one.
Okay, but I had seen it in subsequent years, on television, things like that. So it was a story I was somewhat familiar with, but probably haven't seen it since the age of like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So yes, it was quite a new experience for me. So, had you seen this previously before we signed up for this?
Yes,
you had.
Okay. This one, I believe that this watch that I just had was about my 3rd of this film, and I can't tell you for absolute fact what year it was that I first saw it, but I believe it was a VHS. At some point when I was probably between 9 and 13, like that kind of time. So that would have been. Let me just do some quick math in my head. That would have been basically late 90s, is when I would have seen this for the first time, and not. I didn't really pick up back then on some of the themes in this film. It was...
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes, I took it purely at face value and was just like... oh, okay, so the mice are trying to get away from the cats, and oh no, there are cats. And then it's a sort of a modified Trojan horse type thing that they go with at the end.
And oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, obviously now looking at it, I'm kind of like, wow, okay, this is a brave thing to really start putting into what would be considered a children's film. So, but all power
Absolutely.
to it.
I was just going to say that, kind of what Paul was alluding to there. We didn't plan this out. Like, we were just looking for a film to review that was recently added to Netflix, correct?
Yep. Yeah, that was pretty much the case.
And then it kind of dawned on me, and I even sent a message like, this is pretty prevalent and relative to current climates.
Yeah.
Those weren't my exact words, but I was like that, like, yeah, there's some themes in here that we might identify with. So
yeah, and so obviously he gave the generic synopsis there, but kind of going into it, it is 1885 Ukraine. The Mouskowitzes, who, in case you couldn't tell, they're Jewish. They are mice that live with a human family, apparently called Moskowitz. I completely missed that. I don't know if that was specifically mentioned, but there you go.
Mouskowitz. Oh, I see what they did there.
Yes, exactly. And then for some reason, they are basically made to immigrate to America. And during the immigration by boat, the son in the family is swept off the boat and presumed dead. And before this, you hear this wonderful song about how there are no cats in America. And
it's a catchy number.
Oh, yes. In fact, when I saw that this was on Netflix, that was the thing that popped into my head again.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was that and another song, which is...
we'll get to that one.
But yes, and then obviously it very much parallels the Jewish fleeing to America and just being like, well, no, your name is now Smith. Here you go. You're going to just find a way to live here.
Remember the opening scene to Godfather Part 2 with them arriving on Ellis Island and, the Corleone family getting their name. But a lot of that just lovely casual racism and you're Smith now. Yeah, none of that nonsense. So some heavy numbers.
Again, I would like to reiterate that this is billed as a kids' film, and this is
in a lot of ways it very much is. Let's make that clear. But
I mean, it's about mice.
Very true. But this is obviously a time when you would want to immigrate to America. So if there's America, what a place was. I mean, still true. Just depends how you say it.
America, what a place. Yes, and there's one kind of running theme throughout, just based on the Christopher Plummer character, where he is just saying, "Oh, they're building my statue." And at the end of the film, it does become this giant beacon that everyone's in awe of, and it is this symbol of everything's fine now. And I do know, obviously, we're going to try and stay away from politics as much as possible while we're discussing it.
It may not be completely avoidable.
Yes,
how on this film is, but
exactly.
At least I don't know if I can avoid it. We won't hit it hard.
It might become incredibly obvious what our own particular political leanings are during the discussion of this film. However, obviously, given now there have been a lot of jokes and sort of half-joking comments made about how what is now written on the Statue of Liberty possibly is becoming undone. I don't know. Like all of these, but it's It's actually a really cool film. When I rewatched it, I didn't anticipate enjoying it as much as I did again.
Yeah. When that, yeah, that's, opening probably 20 minutes or half hour, when they have the song that is the poem that's on the Statue of Liberty. I I will admit I got a little choked up. It was, I mean, because it's hard to not think about our current situation,
Yeah.
not getting into it too much, but the current situation that we're in here, and that other people are in, and just thinking about those words and stuff. And it was definitely a moment for me, one that I had never had, watching this film before. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and the really cool thing when I was watching it again, we'll talk about the art style in a little bit because that's like my main draw for this film. But just watching it, I didn't realize just how well done the film is when they are tackling all of these like, really heavy topics, but they've been able to frame it so well with just this family. This little,
like you said,
nice
it's
family.
a Trojan horse. Yeah, it's a beautiful Trojan horse of a film. Yeah, you just sneak it right in on you. Yeah, I wrote that down too. Like the film looks incredible. Like, yeah, it's got the faded tones of the time, but it is just beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, I don't remember all the films that were made at the time that kind of led to it, but it was definitely this film, and there were, I believe, the Secret of Nim kind of, like I said, it led the way, and then there was a couple of other ones. I believe Who Framed Roger Rabbit was one. Because they did so well, the animation studio Amblimation was created.
Oh yeah,
And the idea being to kind of continue on this sort of style. Unfortunately, they didn't quite capture what those films were able to to bring, so it did end up closing down after about 9 years, I think it was. But
yeah, I remember. I definitely remember that studio though.
I looked it up. They only made 3 films before they got shut down. Like
Really?
they made Five Goes West, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, and Balto.
Balto. Oh, okay. Yep.
I have seen Five Goes West, and that is it. I haven't seen the other two.
I'd give Balto a watch, but yeah, yeah. I think this was one of the most successful non-Disney animated films. I think I read, something like that.
Yeah, at the very least, at the time, it was like it made so much money and wasn't Disney that everyone was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm actually, and all that. It actually did that well.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I was looking it up, I expected, also 9 million, probably made 50. If I had to guess, like, especially for that time, not being from a major franchise or a major studio that did it, it was just kind of Don Bluth not only directed and produced it, but like, he was one of the main people behind it. So it was just kind of, okay, yeah, we'll do it. And this is what I got out of it. So, why don't we kind of start off here then? Like, obviously, very heavy topics and stuff to go into, but what would you say is your favorite part of this film, if you had to pick one?
Well, I don't know if people listen closely to the podcast. I am a big musical fan. Paul, not so much.
Not so much.
To steal a phrase, my shining light for all of this film are the musical numbers.
Okay.
Some better than others, and I think one we'll get to that is the best. We already mentioned No Cats in America. But yeah, I just like that aspect, and I like that this was an animated musical. Yeah, that's my favorite part. I know it's multiple parts, but
right.
Yeah, if I can cheat, if you'll allow me that.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
okay,
obviously,
cool.
well, we've touched on what my sort of favorite thing from it would be the animation, just because I love this style. It's not around anymore.
Well, yeah, I wrote this even down in my notes is that the cell work, and then just the animation's really on display. Like you could feel the care, in the time it takes to make a film like this at that time. It was really there on the screen.
Yeah, and I've got nothing against using neurotechnology to create better, better visuals and stuff like that, but I wouldn't mind seeing a return of this art style. I know it's just not cost effective anymore, but there's got to be someone somewhere that's willing to go back down this route, because it's just so cool to see. It's so much more real than Shrek or or even the new Pixar stuff.
Yeah, like we've mentioned, and guests have mentioned on the pod before, is that we now expect animated films to look incredible. It is expected. It's not a compliment anymore to say that, Up looked amazing, or or Finding Dory looked amazing. Well, it cost $50 million, to do the animation, whatever it costs. Like, it should look incredible.
Yeah, the only time it's ever noteworthy is when it's stunning. Like, it has to be something you've not seen before.
Yeah, so of course we expect that, because you have these programs now, these super sophisticated computer programs that can pull this animation off. So to return to this cell style, just anything like that, or even the Little Prince, like what was done there, like just return to old forms.
I mean, I would. Yeah, I would appreciate more stuff like Little Prince, where you just have a melding of different styles, and then maybe have a film that's partly done like this. Because I don't even know what you would do with it, but
I don't know. But of course, it always comes down to money. So it would probably cost a lot more money to make a film like that than with the modern, animation capabilities.
Yes,
significantly more, and time. A lot more time
and it is. You are literally paying people to sit at their desks and draw, rather than sit at their desks and go tip tap 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 click click click. I am trivializing the work that people do with computers now, but you can definitely get further quicker now with computers than you can having someone just go line after line after line.
Yeah. So don't hold our breath on this, but hopefully there's passionate filmmakers out there that can make it work.
You've got people that are able to make all the cheesy 80s like TV stuff. Like, people are able to parody that very well, and that's a type of homage. So maybe someday someone will be willing to give us something like this again. But obviously, so the animation, my favorite thing from this.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, my favorite moment from this, though, is definitely the end. Like, even though I made fun of the fact that it's basically a Trojan horse, that they kind of an altered Trojan horse, but that giant mouse of Minsk was awesome to watch. Yes,
like that. The animation on it, it was fantastic.
And you weren't told what it was. You didn't really get to see it. You just, like, when they release this thing is when you got to actually fully see it. And again, that's something that's not really done now, because it's often a lot of, okay, here's a building montage, so you're going to see it as it's being built. And here's them testing each individual piece so you know it works. And then, so by the time they actually go, and here it is, you already know what it can do. And then they'll probably say, oh, here's this button that we installed and we just didn't show you what it was. And now it does a flamethrower or something. But, but yeah, this was probably my favorite part of the film, which is great because it's towards the end. Like, my favorite part of the film was something that they built up and delivered
up to. Absolutely.
But yeah, so So that's mine. Did you feel there was anything in the film that didn't work? I mean, I don't know whether it would be because of how things have moved on now, and like
Mm-hmm.
you feel like something doesn't quite fit anymore, or if there was just a miss.
You know what? Not too much. I mean, just watching it as an adult now, I did feel, even though it has heavy themes, I did feel like a lot of it was just kind of blah, very basic humor. Just please, very cute, but not
Yeah,
really special. As like some of the dialogue and things, and in that way, it's very much a kids' film, and I very much outgrown it.
yeah,
When the heavy themes weren't being addressed, but I could still find myself, enjoying the animation and all that. But that's really my main critique, is that it, kind of aged out of a lot of it.
right. Yeah. So yeah, you basically, and I guess that can be the sign of good writing as well, or yeah, good whatever. It's just that you're now too old for like the kid part of it, which is
Mm-hmm.
obviously how they were advertising
Mm-hmm.
it, but you're able to then take more from the other stuff that what went straight over your head as a kid. So
I
there's
think that's an excellent point. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, because those thoughts did occur to a 4-year-old. That 4-year-old's going places, but
yeah, that 4-year-old has lived through this. If that 4-year-old is
exactly. Yeah, they're like, I know that story. Um, but yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, so I did have that access point into it on this watch, but
yeah, I've been trying to think of a bit that I think didn't work, and like to be honest, it's a bit weird to say, but I think my main problem with this film is Tiger.
really,
Yeah, I mean,
ooh.
I have nothing against Dom DeLuise. I love Dom DeLuise. He's great, but it's like maybe it's because I'm now older and that character is clearly meant for the kids, but like
Hmm.
he is. It is just this random sort of bumbling cat that they just kind of introduce just for the hell of it, and then he sort of helps out a bit.
Yeah, he sings a song with Fievel, a duo. It's called, of course.
Yeah,
Um, which is it's a cute song.
yeah,
I mean, he's definitely in there to try to steal the show. Um,
yeah,
Punch up things and kind of give that late second, third act, beginning third act a little bit of push. And I guess for the most part it works, but maybe not so much for you. It sounds like.
nah. I mean, yeah. Again, it's always fun just to hear Don DeLuise because he's just got that great voice to him.
Yeah. Hmm.
And they gave him a character that fits the voice very well. So it's perfect
Hmm.
casting. It's just maybe I am just a bit too old and jaded at this point, and so it is specifically like, oh, there's that character made for the kids. So I've got to wait until
Uh-huh.
we move on to the next scene or something. Maybe he won't be in it, but yeah, and like I said, I think it's a good sign of the film that the bit that I don't like now that I'm older is the bit that isn't aimed at me anymore. So yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of really came to appreciate what this film was when I was watching it again in a way that I wasn't expecting. Seriously, what happened was I was on Netflix and I was just scanning through some stuff. And I was like, "An American Tale's on Netflix."
Hmm.
Huh?
I think they have a few of them on there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they might have added all four, and I
Uh-huh.
was just like, that could be interesting. Definitely a chance to talk animation and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
films of the time. And then I rewatched it. I was like, wow, this is better than I thought. So, why don't we talk about your favorite song then?
Well, call me
I
a
kind of
softie.
I say
And
there's basically two songs I can think of that it might possibly be, given that it's clearly not that there are no cats in America, and you didn't seem too fond
never
of.
Say never.
It's not never say never, and you didn't seem too fond of a duo when you were talking about it. So in that case, I mean, is it Somewhere Out There by any chance?
It is Somewhere Out There.
So what about that song then?
I don't know. This might tie back to like my first experience. Like this song had to have gotten embedded in my brain. You know, it is a very well written song. I think. I still think that, but I don't know. I just connect this with my childhood. Like it's a song that I always knew. It's just one of those few songs that's always been in your brain. Right. And you don't know really when it started, but you know it's always been there. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody. But there's just a few songs like that. Like I'm making it sound way better than it is, and it's still a good song. But I don't know. It's just integral to, like I said, to my upbringing. No, that was just me, like seeing it, you know, at a very early age, apparently.
No, I get it. I mean, there are definitely some songs in films that obviously I may not care for the song or anything like that, but every now and again it'll just pop into my head for no reason, and it's like, you know, well, I remember sitting watching that. It's just, you just kind of get whisked back for a second. Just one example of that is actually one that just kind of started playing in my head as I was trying to think of Somewhere Out There, is actually, and this is going to sound incredibly stupid, it's the song that Peter Panning's daughter sings in Hook, where she's just sitting there singing while she's on the pirate ship, and for no reason whatsoever, that will just pop into my head. And then I'll spend the next 5-10 minutes just going, wasn't Hook just a fun film to watch? Like, I should rewatch that film.
It's, you know, I don't know. I'm afraid that's what I'm afraid to watch because I don't think it'll hold up. I really don't.
It does. I watched it a couple of years ago. It doesn't hold up the way it should.
I don't think it did.
But it is still just, I mean, it's Robin Williams as Peter Pan.
I know.
Come on.
Yeah. And I don't want to get too sad here, but it's still tough. I still really have to gear myself up for a Robin Williams rewatch. It doesn't matter if it's dramatic or comedic. I still have a tough time with it.
Yeah, where I work, there are times where the TV will be on, and it will, because I happen to work with children with autism, and they like a lot of things to be the same. Yeah. It's either The Lion King on one side of the room or Aladdin on the other.
Oh, yeah.
So I am treated quite often to Friend Like Me and also the ending of Aladdin, which is very difficult to get through sometimes. But
but immersion therapy, apparently.
Yes, exactly. I mean, definitely at this point in time, I have a very young daughter, and I want to be able to share Robin Williams films with her, because
so you got to get over it for her sake.
Yes, I'm not going to deprive my daughter of Robin Williams. I cannot.
Here, I'm going to start the movie. I'll be in the other room crying.
Just tell me when it's done. You're not going to watch it. No.
Yeah. Maybe give her a few years for Dead Poet Society, but
or even 1 hour photo. Maybe start with 1 hour photo and then move on to Aladdin.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Or Insomnia. Yeah, there you go. And then Awake. All right. So, well, let's dig ourselves out of this.
Yes, this
hole if we can. I know we haven't really talked about the plot, and I know that. I mean, I don't really know that it's essential that we really go into it. Like the synopsis said, he comes to America trying to get, separated from the family, tries to get back with family. There's your movie. So I'd recommend watching it. It's only an hour and 20.
Definitely.
So not too much to invest there, but and we've been skirting around, with talking about the bigger issues, which is really our connection, I think, into the film now.
Yes, unfortunately.
Well, unfortunately, but I was just saying, if people wondering why we aren't touching on the finer points, because I don't know. I don't really feel like it's too relevant.
Yeah. And one thing that I was surprised by when I was rewatching it was like every time there was a voice, and I was like, wait, what? They're in this film? And it's, of course, the first couple of times I watched this, I had no idea who Madeline Kahn was. Like, I'd never heard that voice before, and
Yeah,
now it's like, oh, it's Madeline Kahn. That's kind of cool.
absolutely. Yeah, it's someone we're familiar with now.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the other thing. Like, yeah, they had two, I guess, two fairly big names at the time, Christopher Plummer and I guess Dom DeLuise. I don't know how big of a name. But yeah, this was a time when you didn't need all 5, 6, 8 starring roles to be A-list celebrities. So that's also nice with the voice work.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, if we go back to the people playing Fievel and who would be I guess, Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
Probably
Yeah.
like the two main people there. So you got Philip Glasser, and can you name anything else that guy's been in?
The Philip Glasser story, a documentary.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm looking at the list of stuff he's done, and he was Fievel in Fievel Goes West. He was Fievel in American Tales, which was a
right in front
TV
of me.
show.
Oh, how could I not name something else he was in? Yeah.
I know. He was also in The Secret of Nim 2. So I had to look that up. But yeah, basically probably the biggest thing he's been in outside of the Fievel franchise. You can make an argument for Full House or probably yeah, I know. Or he was in an episode of Boy Meets World, an episode of Saved by the Bell, an episode of Sabrina's Teenage Witch. So,
all right, we spent enough time on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, he was.
Sorry, no offense to you, good sir, but
that's fine. He was 10 years old at the time of recording, so they actually did get a child actor to do it. And so the other one being Tony is played by Pat Music, and that would be Patrice Ann Music. So yes, they did get a woman to play Tony. But,
with one of the most irritating accents you'll hear.
Yes,
at least in my opinion, it didn't age well for me, Tony.
No, and it was definitely one thing where I heard the voice and I was immediately like, "Oh yes, I remember this voice."
Yeah. It's just like all I could think of was Peter Griffin and like the Italian beepity boppity boopity beepity. It was it wasn't great.
Yeah,
and get over here. It was it was rough.
For those of you that are fans of Wait Don't Tell Me, I got a very Paula Poundstone image in my head when she was talking. But yeah, probably most famous at this point for being the mother of Mae Whitman. I think so. That would be it. Yeah, and the other stuff, she done a lot of animations, so you probably heard her voice elsewhere. And so like that's the thing, is these people that are like, okay, I guess they've been in animation before, or in the case of Fievel, the main character, they just hired a kid to do it. Like, that doesn't happen now. It's the only time I can think of, especially like, let's say you go with Pixar or Disney, the time that I can think of where they hired someone to do the voice of a kid who wasn't an established actor already, like Simba. They got Jonathan Taylor Thomas to do the voice of Simba there, would be Boo in Monsters Inc. And what they did there was they got a 2-year-old to record line down the phone. Like that, that was it. Like, outside of that, they get people who have been in the voice acting community a long time, or they get established child actors. And
I mean, even like Wreck-It Ralph, which sounds like it would be prime for child actors.
Yeah.
It was cast with seasoned actors and people with a lot of voice work experience. I mean, you had Sarah Silverman as Vanellope, and John C. Reilly, and or like Alan Tudyk, doing like childish kind of roles, but
yeah.
Still very enjoyable. I'm not saying that in a bad way.
Oh,
childlike, maybe childlike is a better description.
Yes, it's just kind of interesting. The more I've been delving into this film and seeing like the way it was made, the people that are in it, things like that, like it's still very surprising to me how it did as well as it did, and then like the way it was made, it's like, wow, it is doing a lot of things that just isn't done anymore. So it's kind of fun to. It was a fun ride for me to sit down.
It's kind of an animated Gangs of New York. It's no Cameron Diaz, which take that as a good or bad thing, however you want to decide. Yes. But yeah, it's that whole kind of vibe to it. Tammany Hall, you got to love the mention of Tammany Hall and that whole corruptness there.
Yeah.
The whole Honest John character. Who I loved, who's just clearly a corrupt politician, and prone to the sauce, and
Now,
that wasn't that a little odd for you? Like there was just like clearly alcohol consumption in this children's film.
Yes, and definitely, I believe there were one or two instances of smoking as well, a cigar here and there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean. Yeah, obviously not unheard of. Let's take Pinocchio, for instance. But yes, and at the time it was made. It was definitely towards the end of we gotta kind of safer work this stuff.
We became a little more cautious and
Now, this is kind of interesting. I don't know if you've heard this. They originally wanted it to be an all-animal world.
Okay, like a Zootopia?
Kind of, or Robin Hood, the Disney one. But apparently Don Bluth suggested, much like The Rescuers, that there just be sort of a hidden, human-esque world within the animals underneath the human world, and then it wasn't until everyone else then watched The Rescuers and they went, oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're going for there. Like, could you imagine this film if they just did like a direct, okay, so they're just giant mice from the Ukraine moving to America?
No. Not on psychedelics.
No, I think at that point it would have been like really heavy, like that, because I think the way it works so well is they're able to take that one step away from what was actually happening and make it about the animals rather than just make it about anthropomorphic animals going through this thing. So
agreed.
I am very glad it didn't have the way it did.
I don't know if is there anything else you want to go into?
I don't think so. This is one of those films that not my favorite film by far, but
no,
I don't want to talk about it too much in case people haven't really seen it or they haven't rewatched it in a long time. It's like, I would recommend people see this film now.
I stand by this note when I took it, but I did write down this definitely has its place in animation history. It may not be a large place, but I do think it's a deserving place, however small it is.
I think that I think at this point The Secret of NIMH has probably a bigger
absolutely
a bigger place and a bigger knowledge of about there because just because it's The Secret of NIMH. But yes, I think people do kind of overlook this one because it is more of a kids film, but there's still so much in there that I think people should pay attention to. So yeah, I mean, I heartily recommend this film to pretty much anyone that is willing to listen.
Yeah, I mean, especially if, I mean, maybe not for yourself, but if you have kids out there and you need stuff to watch, and there's going to be a little enjoyment in there for you too. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe 4 or 5 years old rather than 2, 3. Like, don't want to scare them too much.
Yeah,
a little parental guidance. Just
giant mouse mints can be pretty terrifying. So
yeah, maybe just finish it like 20 minutes before the end. Just kind of
get Tiger, which I always wanted to call him Tigger, but yeah, just get some Tiger in there, and then you're good. Yeah. So. All right, I think we kind of said it.
I think so. I mean, did you want to get back into doing a rating thing, or shall we?
No, I don't think. Yeah, I kind of want to just kind of keep that for the modern releases.
Yeah,
I'll just give it a general thumbs up.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it recently, and I do think a lot of these things, like especially when we're doing like really older films like this one or like Netflix stuff, it is much like Netflix is doing now. It's typically either hey, we recommend it, or you should probably skip it type of thing.
Yeah. Watch or pass. Yeah. And I say watch.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lukewarm watch, but a watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, anyone that is obviously musically or animation inclined.
Mm-hmm. I guess I should specify that. If you do have something that immediately ties you into it, whatever it is, then you'll like it more. As a general film, if there's not a whole lot bringing you into it, I think it's a lukewarm recommend. But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, anything else we want to go over?
well, I not with this film, but I do know that it has been a very, 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 very long time since we have done any form of real recommendations with with this podcast. So I know that you said previously that you had a couple that you might want to bring up. So we're sort of bringing back the I don't want to call it Netflix recommendation because obviously that's limiting.
Streaming recommendations.
Yes, exactly. Since I believe
whatever
both
services
of us,
you may or may not have subscriptions or stolen subscriptions to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, or borrowed or with permission, whatever.
Yeah,
so
however you are.
I know people discover these things all on their own timeline. So if a couple of these are old hat, sorry. But the main one I'm thinking of there is 3%, which is an amazing, amazing series. Second season, hopefully coming sometime soon because I need it. I can't imagine if you'd watched it initially when this came out and you've been waiting that long. My hats off to you there, but it is just a wonderful dystopian story, about this kind of only 3% make it to the offshore, this utopian world. And you have to be put through these trials, and it's pretty great. The acting's pretty awesome. You got to be a friend of subtitles, which hopefully most of you are. So that's a big one. Have you heard of that at all, Paul?
I have. I've seen it in in the queue, and I do know that there is an English dub version of it if you do want to watch it that way.
Yeah, but I would still recommend the native language with the subtitles.
Yeah, I mean,
you get much more of the story.
Yeah,
much more clearer version.
Always the same when I watch anime. Like, I hate watching dub. There are some good dubs, but you really want the original languages for those.
Mm-hmm.
Just to
like
get
Crouching
all the
Tiger, I think is one of the worst. I hated that dub so much. But anyway, so on to the next one. Just came out last night. This is irrelevant if you're not. Last night, April 25th. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yep.
The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. The bandied about word is important. It's kind of cliche now, but it is an important series to watch.
Right.
It's not fun, but it is amazing. It is beautiful. It's one of those kind of required homework. Keeping with the theme of the episode, apparently required viewing for the time we're in. So
Right.
definitely give that a watch. Bill Nye Saves the World. My childhood scientist. He's back. He's just as good or better than ever. It's a very, we have some experiments and some field pieces, and it's just fun. He's just got that boundless energy, and
this will
definitely watch him.
This will be the first time I actually have seen Bill Nye do like something like this. The only exposure I've had to Bill Nye in my life, because growing up in England, no one knows who he is. Everyone knows who Bill Nighy is, but not Bill Nye. So yeah, I first saw him in anything when I went on the Ellen's Energy, whatever it is, at Disney World, because he and Ellen did that thing together, and the idea of being like, oh, here's different energy things that we need, and so on and so forth, and that was kind of cool. I enjoyed that, and I'd seen him like in things. I think he was on Mythbusters once. He's definitely been a guest on a few things I've seen, but yeah, this will be my proper introduction to Bill Nye. So
and Bill Nye the Science Guy, I think is still on Netflix. I haven't taken a look in a while, but those old episodes are up if you were so inclined. And then just the last thing I was kind of into right now is Mystery Science Theater 3000, the updated version with Jonah Hill. This is just one of those things to put on last thing of the night, trying to get to bed, whatever. It is great falling asleep to content. I mean this in the best way. It's not a slight. It's very soothing to watch just these bad movies with just some quiet wisecracks in the background. It's never not good, to just kind of watch that kind of thing. If you can't think of anything to watch, just throw it on. I just love it. Well, are you a big? I mean, I don't know. Did you watch a lot of the original MST or?
No, I have. I have been exposed to exactly 12 minutes of the original Mystery Science Theater 3000, and so I'm still kind of toying with the idea of, do I watch the original, which is available on Netflix, and then watch the new one, or do I go straight into the new one? I don't know which one I should do.
I think you should watch. I would say I'd say 3 or 4. And I could probably get you some episodes of the original Mystery Science Theater, like classic ones to watch, and then definitely watch the movie Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie.
Okay.
And then go into the new ones, just to get a small sample size of what the original was like. Joel. Right. So, get that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's it for me. Rapid fire kind of recommends. Paul, do you have anything people should be watching?
Yes, actually, I was kind of surprised when you mentioned this, and I was like, oh, I haven't really thought about it, and then I thought about it for about 2 minutes, and now I've got a couple. There's something I'm watching right now on Netflix, which my mum hates it, and it was something that I believe was on in the 90s in England. It was on BBC, and it's called Allo Allo, and that is apostrophe ALLO, and then just twice. It is written by the same guys that were involved in making Dad's Army, which is something I loved from my childhood. I believe I mentioned it in the episode where we did the 5 TV shows that really just love. Yep. And it's set in World War II France, where the Germans have invaded and are occupying. And so everyone who is French speaks English with a French accent. Everyone who is German speaks English with a German accent. Everyone who is British speaks British as in, hello, I can't understand the bally word they're saying, it's all in French. That's the level that they have in this show. It is so cheesy, and sometimes the writing is so obvious, but I'm having a blast watching it. It's so stupid, and it's just kind of cheesy entertainment. Each episode's like 25 minutes.
Yes, get you stupid.
Like, I mean, it's kind of like guilty pleasure type TV.
Okay. Anything else?
I recommend that. Hit record on TV.
Hit record,
Gordon-Levitt thing. Especially if you are into creating or just enjoying watching little things that people have made and collaborated on. It's so fun to watch. I have trouble describing what it is because if you
just
don't
give it a couple
get it,
watches and you'll get the idea.
If you're not that into creating, collaborating, seeing the fruits of people's labor and stuff like that, you may not like it. But it's just, for me, it's wonderful to watch. I've so much enjoyed it, and of course, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in it, and that's always a plus.
Mm-hmm. And he's not doing his accent from The Walk, so relax. You can enjoy it.
Yes. Yes, he is himself.
Yes, he is not playing Philippe Petit the whole time.
No,
I think I got that name right.
Probably.
Okay.
I do not remember, so let's assume you did and move on.
All right.
And the last thing is actually something that I don't remember if we've ever really mentioned it on here. It is something that you mentioned a couple of times to me, and then I ended up watching it, and myself and my wife ended up watching it and loving it. And it is available on Netflix still, and it is Peaky Blinders.
Oh gosh!
People who have not found out about Peaky Blinders watch Peaky Blinders.
Are awful people, and you need to remedy that. And get yourself some Cillian Murphy in your life because he's amazing.
And for those who are like, well, I'm not sure that Tom Hardy is in it from season 2 onwards.
Yes, and the less we say about his character, the better.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Tom Hardy is in it from season 2 onwards.
and he is amazing. I think we can say that.
Sam Neill is in it, and he has an Irish accent. I'm not going to say which Irish accent he has, and you will notice it the second he starts speaking, but... Yes, he is in it with an Irish accent, and it is so
the ladies are great in it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any
Helen
character...
McCrory as Aunt Polly. Sophie Rundle as Ada.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single character in that show that I have an issue with. I just love seeing the lives of these people.
And it does the modern music. Some people, hopefully, that's not turning you off right now. Me saying that it does modern music appropriately, much in the way where I feel A Knight's Tale failed. With the We Will Rock You and all that stuff. Just this, it's tonally perfect. The music choices. It's like Tarantino's picking the music. I don't know. Like that's about as good as I can put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, obviously, there are times in the show when they have music and it's music of the time, it's them dancing to it, that's all fine. And then there are times when it is just your modern music comes in, but it's purely like it's
purely like adrenaline driven, or
it's dressing for the scene. It isn't in the scene. It's just
like the theme song is by Nick Cave. So I mean, I don't know if it's his version. I don't know. I don't think he wrote this song. But, I'm not
called,
bothering to look that up.
Yeah, it's called Red Right Hand. I don't know.
Or Red Right Hand. Oh, and Bring It On is like the end credit on that song.
Yeah, and every now and again as well, you'll get a song like that just on the soundtrack. There was one where it was a White Stripes song was in it. I don't remember specifically which one it was, but it is a slightly different version than I'd ever heard before. Like, I don't know if they got them to specifically record a new version of it, and it's only like 30 seconds of it, but it was a really cool version of it. So it's like they do pick the perfect music to kind of insert into it.
And I mean, if we're talking to the small group here that hasn't heard of this, I mean, if you like, Boardwalk Empire or, the Godfather films, anything like that, you're going to love it. It's more the same. I would say it's better. I think they're better fleshed out characters than some of those. I mentioned.
Yeah,
More humanity to him, more kind of confliction, or just kind of complex characters. More going on under the surface than you think. Just I don't want to say too much, of course. But yeah, there's a lot there and a lot to enjoy on multiple views.
Yeah, and at the moment there's only 3 seasons on there.
Yep.
The
I think there was 6 episodes a season.
It might be 8 actually. I believe it's a little longer than a regular season. They haven't even announced when season 4 is going to air in the UK yet, but something tells me Netflix are going to work on getting it to you as quick as they possibly can.
Yeah, they need to get that simultaneously or with very little delay.
For people that are like, well, maybe I'll get into it because of season 4, you're going to have new people coming in. You got Littlefinger will be in it. Adrian Brody will be in it. So those are people to look forward to. But yeah, it's
and it looks amazing. Like the cinematography is incredible.
Yeah.
It is so well shot. It's it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's something where I have the pleasure now of having a 4K TV. And even the I'm inviting you around, sir. You just need to take it up on it.
Okay, well, season 4.
There you go. We'll have a viewing party.
Right.
Although, my daughter might be just old enough at that point that we might need to have a viewing party when she's off somewhere else. But
no, we'll get some of the headphones. Yeah,
there you go.
The wireless headphones.
Yeah, that's
shouting
the only.
To each other, and we'll wake up the baby by shouting to each other.
Yeah, and wireless headphones. That's the only thing that we need to worry about. We need headphones and somehow to put on glasses so that only we can see the screen, and then we'll be absolutely fine.
All right, this sounds like it's going to happen really soon.
But yeah, so yeah, and that is my recommendations out of everything. So yeah, I think that's practically everything we can cover.
Let us know what you're watching that you think people may not know about, or you're just discovering.
Yeah, and also let us know what you would recommend us to watch. If you've been following us for this long, thank you very much. And
you kind of know what's our jam and what isn't. So
yeah, so do feel free to recommend whatever. We can.
I'm always looking. I have my my sources that feed to me. I'm looking to spread the love too. So let me know.
The only other thing that I was considering going to mention, I think I will because I've been singing its praises for the past several weeks. Last week tonight, killing it.
Oh, absolutely,
this season.
Killing it as always. I would say, but yes,
yes. So yes, for those of you that don't know, HBO, but they do release most of it on YouTube. So just go check it out. You'll find it easily enough.
Yes, very good work there.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for us for this one.
I believe so. Definitely a longer episode than I was anticipating here, but a fun one.
We'll timestamp it maybe for the recommends, but yeah.
So,
I'm done. I'm out. You finish this up yourself, Paul. I'm out of here.
Oh, well, okay. In that case, I've been Paul and he was Brian. Bye, folks.